Look at this magnificent oblate spheroid, somewhat pear-shaped, of genuine Amazon latex containing HE2. Now, I don't know why I did that. I broke it and it was so pretty. Don't you do things like that? Don't you do things that make you wonder why I'm doing the thing I'm doing? Your motivations are obscure sometimes. What brand of toothpaste do you use? And really, why? What kind of neckties do you prefer? Do you know why? Bet you don't. How about your reading habits? Ever wonder why people buy the kind of magazines that people buy? The publishers, of course, can give you a pretty complete portrait of their readers. They know how many there are, where they live, how much they earn, all sorts of things about them. Take TV Guide, for instance. It's the best-selling weekly magazine in America. I think you know that. More than 7.25 million families buy it every week. Now, the economic and age characteristics of its readers are much like those of other mass magazines. But why do the people buy it, really? And how do they react to it after they've bought it? What's their opinion of it? Do they approach the magazine with any particular attitude? Well, that's what we want to talk about for a few minutes. Here's a study. The title, TV Guide, a study in depth. The meaning and function of the magazine to its readers. The research is by Dr. Burley Gardner and his staff at Social Research Incorporated. Now, if you're concerned with media, and I think you are, that why becomes a very important question. And this report becomes a study of great significance. Dr. Gardner, whose home base is one of my favorite cities, Chicago, works for a rather diversified and very lengthy list of clients, ranging from General Foods to Chevrolet and back again, from J. Walter Thompson to Fortune magazine and many more. His study for TV Guide begins right in my own backyard, which is television. How do you do? Glad to see you up so late. You've heard it said that television concerns nearly everybody, and that's about right. More people do spend more time with television than any other leisure time activity. Whether or not people read TV Guide is in many ways a reflection of their basic attitude toward television. For example, take non-readers, somewhat surprisingly, but let's take them. The Gardner report places non-readers of TV Guide in three basic groups, or never mind my fingers, here they are right here. At one extreme is the highbrow attitude. That's the highbrow in there, you see. Highly particular he is in the use of the medium, hypercritical of almost everything he sees. At the other extreme, well, here's the lowly lowbrow. The lowbrow attitude, technically, is one who is uncritical, who watches everything, who frankly enjoys television because it's an undemanding way of passing time. Now, in the middle brow area, come around there, boy. Non-TV Guide readers, perhaps, are best typified by their, take it or leave it attitude toward television. To them, TV Guide is simply an unnecessary appendage to an activity that they treat casually anyhow. But these are non-readers. Now, what about those 7.25 million families who do read TV Guide? Why do they read it? What makes TV Guide today's best-selling weekly magazine? Well, nothing is ever really black or white. You know that. The Gardner report concludes that, as with other magazines, there is more than one explanation for the purchase of TV Guide. TV Guide is a convenient information source. It provides very concise program synopses. It editorializes handsomely on the state of television. It reports on television trends and people in TV. And the reader looks to TV Guide as a kind of a single entity, like that. Except it's TV Guide, so it's like that. The sum of it all means that its parts, totalized, provide him with all the information necessary to fill his need to know about television. And he has a need. Dr. Gardner will show you that in his report. In fact, the doctor says that all readers take advantage of the full range of editorial material presented. But generally, the major motivation for buying TV Guide is one of three basic reasons. A small group, actually only 16% of TV Guide households, buy TV Guide primarily because they're interested in it as a reliable reference to program time and channels. And an even smaller group, how are you? You don't look so good. That's no news, though. A smaller group, 11% of TV Guide's households, is comprised of readers who buy the magazine somewhat sporadically and use it mostly to read the personality profile articles and learn where they can follow their favorite stars on television, and they do love that. But the great majority, actually 73% of TV Guide households, are those who rely on the magazine primarily as an aid to, and here's the key word, selective viewing. These are readers concerned with making certain that their viewing hours are spent in a constructive, enjoyable manner, night after night. Selective viewers see themselves as applying intelligence and organization to the business of TV watching, and it should have some of that, I think. So if you want to join that union, or mine, you can be a selective viewer too. And most TV Guide readers are, 73%. Let me read to you, if I may, a bit from Dr. Gardner's quote from the report here about selective viewers. Selective viewers, he says, are people who are inclined to feel ashamed, perhaps even slightly guilty, whenever they don't plan ahead. That's spelled evenly. I mean, there's no drop-off on the last D there. Whenever they don't plan ahead, whenever they allow time to hang heavy on their hands, whenever they lazily watch television without being discriminating in their use of it, they are virtually Puritans among television viewers. They are not highbrows. They do try to be sensible and use television to uplift and enlighten themselves. They can't comfortably sit back, relax, and enjoy it until they have assured themselves that they are watching the best of available alternatives. Now, that's a very important quote, I think. It goes on a bit. TV Guide helps its selective viewers, readers, become knowledgeable about and conversant with the whole television world. Convinces them that television can be a serious, worthwhile, leisure time pursuit, that it need not be an idle pastime. And finally, although these selective viewers read the personality profiles, they would never think of equating TV Guide with a fan magazine. In fact, they reject any definition of themselves as idolatrous fans of television's performers. Me too. Regardless of the reasons for buying TV Guide, though, there's one composite image of the magazine as the readers see it. To its readers, first of all, it's compact, it's comprehensive, and they find it attractive. However, the most meaningful description of the magazine recurs in almost every reader comment. Two short, simple, direct words, but most important in understanding the attraction of TV Guide. Authoritative, authentic. The Gardner report concludes that this authority derives partly from the accuracy of TV Guide's program information, but equally important, I think, is the reaction of readers to the editorial features. As an aid to selective viewing, TV Guide also keeps its readers abreast of what's going on in the whole television industry. I'm in the industry, and when this comes every week, I open it right away, before I open the mail sometimes, and go to the yellow pages, the teletype reports, to find out what's going on, because it's the latest information, later than any trade paper I know. And readers feel an important part of their enjoyment is relating to television itself in this way. Their enjoyment of the magazine comes from reading about new programs, forecasts of programming trends, which are all in here and accurate, controversial articles about TV, which is surely controversial, descriptions of how shows are produced. All these things gratify the reader's curiosity about an activity which has become very important in their lives because of the time it demands and because of the influence it has on them. Like most people, they get a kick out of having inside information. And TV Guide's articles keep its readers' interest in television fresh and alive. They give him, for one thing, something to talk about. And these days, that's a very handy thing to give a man or a woman. They contribute to making him a truly informed viewer in the fullest sense. The controversial articles are enjoyed for the sense of, I think, participation, really, that they stimulate. And finally, people being people, Knowing about the television world is intrinsically interesting in the way that any kind of knowledge is valued for its own sake, I think. It helps the viewer attach weight to an area of behavior that might easily be viewed, and sometimes carelessly is, as frivolous and insignificant. Readers consume these features partially as a means of convincing themselves that their interest in television is not lazy and time-wasting at all. Reading TV Guide, because of its authority, enables them to feel they're getting the best of television, rather than letting television, well, get the best of them, put it that way. Now, in just a few minutes there, I have covered the highlights of a study which actually took almost a year to make. Dr. Gardner, let me ask you some questions about this, if I may. How about some of the background on the study itself? How many interviews? Where were they made? What's the sample?
Well, we gathered over 1,200 interviews. These were long conversational, so-called depth-type interviews, and they were in communities from coast to coast with all kinds of people, both readers and non-readers, and we took care to include some communities that had the newspaper television supplement, which provides a lot of television information.
Well, 1,200 in-depth viewers is a pretty big sample, I believe.
Yes, that's a big sample. In this type of work, it's unusually large. This whole problem of an adequate sample of the methods to be used and so on in this work, a special problem. They've been explained pretty thoroughly in the report. But if any of our audience would like to ask any further questions about it, I wish they'd write me, and I'll try to tell them what I can.
Or your phone may start ringing late at night.
I hope not.
Really, don't we underrate the quality of readership of TV viewers in general? Aren't they higher than the image?
You know, there is an image of the TV viewer as a person who sits there with that scene flickering before his eyes without any choice of any kind, just anything, with a can of beer in his hand and his shirt off in summertime. These people are not that.
Our selective viewers.
Our selective viewers are not that. They're taking it seriously. They want to use that time constructively.
Do these people have more interests, hobbies than most people?
As compared with the non-viewers in our sample, they express considerably a wider ranging interest in activities, of things they would like to do. They're interested in advertising, which is not unusual. The Americans are great on using advertising as a source of information. It tells them about the world, it tells them how to live, it points the way towards many things.
Doctor, how would you sum up our friend, the selective viewer, then?
Well, I think it's important to realize that they're not frivolous, indolent, time wasters, but are concerned with living well, with using their time, their resources, their energies well, and enjoying leisure in a sound and constructive way. This is a kind of group which is very widespread in our society. These are a kind of people that are the, you might say, the solid majority that make up the bulk of the American population, that are struggling to make good lives. They're serious about their families. They want to have a nice home. They want to raise their kids properly. They take a serious view towards doing things well. They're not people that can sit idly and just sit in the sun and smell the flowers and let the world go by. They take their recreation seriously. They take many other things besides the TV.
Dr. Gardner, this selective viewer we speak of, he is selective in buying his TV viewing. Is he selective in choosing or buying other things?
Well, as he talks about the kinds of things he's interested in, both objects and activities. It suggests that he is selective, that he is trying to pick and choose among the many possibilities so he gets the most satisfying, the best for him, whether it's in the products, what he does with his time and many other areas of his life.
How does the selective viewer feel when he's reading the magazine? Is he, well, what kind of a mood is he in?
Well, you might say that his primary mood as he approaches the magazine is of anticipation and pleasure. You mentioned you open it quickly because you want to get this. Well, he turns to that with some anticipation that it will be a pleasurable thing, a useful thing. It's an authoritative guidance he gets, as well as just pleasure. Now, in his reading, for example, many of them, as soon as they get the magazine, they may thumb through the highlights for the week. Well, do I want to watch this program? Well, there's a good one. Tuesday night, we should see this one. And then, from time to time, he will turn to the magazine and pick up the various articles and profiles. And in the course of the week, apparently he seems to browse through the whole thing in a very relaxed and leisurely fashion. And he feels that he is in a relaxed mood, and that also it is a mood in terms of the family setting. TV watching, as he sees it, is often a group thing with the whole family gathered around sharing in the program, and that the guide is something that is there available for all of them.
Being in a relaxed mood means he's more receptive. Is that not true?
That is one of the implications of it. And many of them express that idea that I'm receptive to fresh ideas, I'm receptive to things, I'm receptive to advertising.
I'm interested at this moment. I feel good.
Yes.
Well, Doctor, thank you very much for being with us for this short period. I wish we could go on for another hour because the report is so fascinating.
It's been
And
a
I hope
pleasure.
you read it, too. It's available to you not long from now. It introduces friend Selective Viewer to you. He's quite a friend, too, to all of us in the business. I hope you'll get acquainted with him. Peace.